In today's video, we're going to be diving deep into a topic that every credit card user really needs to know about, that being the Chase 524 rule. This rule is super important for people brand new to the credit card game, but it also affects people all throughout their journeys, even if they have 30 plus credit cards. So to discuss this in the most digestible way for everybody here today, we're going to break this video down into 4 main sections. We're going to start off with section 1, which is going to be why you should care. Then for section number 2, we're going to talk about what the Chase 524 rule is in more depth. In section 3, I'll be explaining exactly how you can calculate your 524 status, as well as calculate when your next card will drop off of your 524 account. And then section 4 will be my strategies for managing my 524 status using a spreadsheet that y'all can download for free down below. But let's go ahead and dive into section number 1, why you should care. I realize that a lot of people don't even know what this rule is or won't care enough to even click on this video, but for those of y'all who have heard this term thrown around on YouTube, you might be wondering why it matters so much. People generally hate this rule from Chase, but obviously from Chase's perspective, they have good reason to implement it, and that's because they want to limit the amount of credit card churners they have applying for their products. As I mentioned previously, the sad truth about this rule is that it literally affects everybody in the credit card game. Well, at least people that even have a slight desire for Chase credit cards, which I'd argue you should. Chase's credit cards are some of my favorite products for those who just want a set it and forget it approach. And obviously that makes their cards great for people in the beginning of their credit card journeys. Of course, they do have more luxury credit card products like the Chase Sapphire Reserve that are good in their own rights, but my personal favorite setup from Chase is the Chase Trifecta, composed of the Chase Freedom Flex, Chase Freedom Unlimited, and Chase Sapphire Preferred. We're not going to break down this setup in detail by any means. I've made videos about that in the past, but the reason this setup is so powerful is because it really is the most cost-effective approach to get you the most value in the credit card game. And I'll mention that I think Citi's Trifecta is great for this as well, but personally I get the most value from my Chase points compared to any other lender really. I already know we have a couple of trolls typing in the comments saying stuff like, oh, I don't care about the Chase 524 rule because Chase cards suck. And to those people, obviously I disagree with you, but I do empathize with the fact that everybody has their own preferences, and what credit cards you should get drastically changes depending on the person. That's why I always suggest that you do your own research and take into account your financial goals before just taking someone's advice like me. But I'm also very comfortable with recommending people Chase's credit cards because of the amount of value they can provide for the everyday person. So now we kind of understand how powerful Chase's credit cards are, and if you're still not too sure about them, then I'd suggest watching some Chase Trifecta videos on YouTube after this one. But we still haven't answered the question, what the heck is the Chase 524 rule? So basically, this is just a rule implemented by Chase that limits the amount of credit cards you can apply for at any given time. What it states is that if you have been approved for 5 or more personal credit cards in the past 24 months, Chase will automatically deny you for your next credit card application with them. And just so you know, this is an algorithm-based denial, so it's not just some person looking at your credit report and saying, nah, we don't want them because they've had too many cards. So don't get all up in arms about Chase hating you for some reason. Just realize that this is a rule implemented by their algorithms, and although you may think it's a stupid rule, technically you did break them if you get denied for this reason, and we just have to deal with it. However, as I'd recommend with any credit card that you've been denied for, if you are denied for a Chase credit card and you think it's because of Chase's 524 rule, I would recommend calling Chase's reconsideration line just to make sure that was the reason you were denied, because it could have been another reason that you could get solved right away. Unfortunately, if you were denied because of the 524 rule or too many recent accounts opened, there really isn't anything a customer service rep can do to flip that to an approval unless you're part of a really specific case that we'll talk about here later, but even then they might not be able to flip it for you. So to reiterate, the Chase 524 rule basically just means that if you've been approved for 5 or more personal credit cards in the last 2 years, you will be locked out of Chase's credit cards until those cards start to become 2 years old. Now that you know what the rule is, the next logical question is, how do I calculate my Chase 524 status? First things first, I just open an app like Credit Karma and click on either one of your credit reports, and then locate where it shows you all of your accounts on your credit report, and from there you can see how old each of your credit card accounts are. Then all you have to do is count up the number of credit cards that are less than 2 years old, and that's your 524 count. That still leaves a lot of questions up in the air, so let's go back to the definition of the Chase 524 rule and break that down line by line. First of all, if you look closely, you can see that this rule only applies to personal credit cards that you've been approved for. What that means is that hard inquiries do not count towards your Chase 524 status. In addition to that, business credit cards won't add to your 524 status either because they're not personal credit cards. I do need to note though that there are certain business credit cards that will report to your personal credit report like a personal credit card would, and 2 of the lenders that have cards like that are Discover and Capital One, so I usually recommend you just avoid those. But basically what this all boils down to is if you can see a credit card on your personal credit report, it will count towards your 524 status. That may leave you thinking, well, what if I'm an authorized user on somebody else's credit card account? And unfortunately, yes, if you're an authorized user under somebody else's cards and that card shows up on your personal credit report, it will add to your 524 count. At the same time though, if you are absolutely sure that you're under 524 except for maybe an authorized user card, and you apply for a Chase card and get denied because of the 524 rule, this is that situation I was talking about where you may be able to get that that authorized user card kind of wiped from the 524 rule. So once again, I would call Chase's reconsideration line to see if that is possible, but a lot of times even that doesn't work. So that's why I recommend that you add authorized users to your cards with caution, because it does affect certain rules like this. If you are somebody who is the adder of the authorized user to your card, that should not affect your 524 status, because you're not adding another card under your personal credit report. That would just be added to their personal credit report, which is why it adds to the 524 count. So as I said earlier, hard inquiries and business credit cards will not add to your 524 count. And on top of that, auto loans and mortgages or other kind of loans should not add to your 524 count either. I've heard of some weird one-off cases where certain loans will actually report to your personal credit report as a credit card for whatever reason. And in that case, it actually would add to your 524 count, but I think that's a really niche situation, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Breaking the definition of the 524 rule down even further, we of course see that it only applies to cards that you've added to your account in the last 24 months. But that of course begs the question, when exactly does a credit card fall off of my 524 count? To start my answer to that, I do want to say that your cards will fall off of your 524 count one by one, not all at once. So you don't have to wait a full 2 years after hitting 524 for all those cards to fall off your account. To avoid going super in-depth on this topic, I'm just going to direct you to a video I posted pretty recently on my channel at the time of me recording this one, where I explain exactly why and how I calculate my 524 status the way I do, because there's a lot of different information on that topic out there. But here's the TLDR of it. Technically, the day after your card turns 2 years old will be when that card falls off of your 524 count. However, Chase's algorithms may not be quite as quick as you when it comes to calculating that status. Therefore, I personally choose to wait until the first day of the following month that my card turned 2 years old, because that way I hope to give their systems time to update. Technically, you could apply for another credit card right after your card turns 2 years old, I guess, 1 day after, but you do run the risk of the algorithm rejecting you because it hasn't updated yet, and then you'd have to call the reconsideration line and deal with all that. So personally, I just choose to wait, I guess, a maximum of 4 weeks before I apply for another card, hoping that my Chase 524 status is accurately calculated by Chase at that point. What I just said may be kind of confusing though, so let me give you a quick example. Let's assume that I am sitting at 524 and the first card that will drop off of my 524 count is my Chase Sapphire Preferred. Looking at the back of it here, I can tell when I applied for this card by subtracting 5 years from this good through date, which is a common theme with Chase's credit cards. So what that means is I applied for this card in January of 2022. Of course, I can tell the exact day that I opened this card by going through Credit Karma, and that date was January 13th of 2022. But instead of assuming that this credit card will fall off of my 524 status on January 14th of 2024, but what I personally say instead is that this card will not fall off of my 524 account until February 1st of 2024. This is a conservative approach, but so far I have not been denied for a card because of 524 yet, so take that for what it's worth, but do realize that your mileage may vary. Remember, this is calculated on a per card basis, so even if my most recent card that I applied for does not turn 2 years old until 2025, I'd still drop back under 524 to 424 in February of 2024. Also, of course, assuming that I'm not applying for more personal cards until then. That, of course, being because this is my 5th oldest credit card in this example. So once this card turns 2 years old, it will fall off my 524 account, and that's that. Okay, so the big remaining question, now that you know what the Chase 524 rule is and how you can calculate your status with it, is how do I manage my 524 status effectively? Well, here's the magic pill for you. Luckily, I do have a spreadsheet that I'll link down below that I personally use to keep track of much more than just my Chase 524 status, but it is a manual way that I go ahead and just keep track of that myself. It is a free downloadable copy, so I'm not charging you for anything here. And I'm kidding about this being a magic pill. It really is something that you kind of have to do manually and keep up with yourself, and it is exactly what I personally use to keep track of my 524 status, so there's that. Within my 524 status tracker, we'll go from left to right, of course, and the first column will show us exactly what cards we've applied for. Next to that, naturally, we have to list when exactly we open those cards, and in doing so, I was able to do a very simple calculation that tells me the exact number of days and months until these cards fall off of my Chase 524 account. You'll also see some NAs in here, and that's because these are business credit cards, but we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But basically what you need to pull from this is that all these red cells here tell you exactly what your Chase 524 status is. I have 5 red cells popping up right now, so I'm at 524 with Chase. I also have a next card drop date column here that tells me exactly when my cards turn 2 years old. Like I said though, I'm not going to take these exact dates for gospel. What I'm going to do is round up to the next month. That way I give Chase some time to update their systems if they haven't done it for me, right away. This column also really helps me to roadmap out my credit card setup. And speaking of that, in general, I will recommend that you get Chase cards early on in your credit card journey, mainly because it just allows you to not have to worry about the 524 rule as much. That's exactly what I did personally. I got the Chase trifecta as my first 3 credit cards, and that really gave me a good foundation to work on, where I had to worry about 524 rule less than people that didn't start that way. If you're somebody that's not a beginner and you do have a high velocity of applications, this still obviously really applies to you. And what I'd recommend is that you keep your 524 status as close to something like 424 as you can. That way you at least leave one slot open in case one of Chase's credit cards has a massive sign-up bonus on it right now or something. But you may be wondering, how the heck am I going to have a high velocity of credit card applications and only apply for 4 within 2 years? Now that is where one of the more advanced credit card strategies comes into play, and a lot of you know this by now, but that is applying for business credit cards. We've talked about this multiple times already, so as y'all know now, business credit cards will not add to your 524 count. And what that means is that you can add as many of those as you want without impacting your 524 count. Chase's business credit cards are some of my personal favorites with how high some of their bonuses can get and the ability for you to be able to kind of get multiple bonuses on those cards over time. But remember that all of Chase's credit cards are restricted by the Chase 524 rule, so you'll have to be under 524 to get one of their business cards. But once you do add them to your setup, they won't increase your 524 count. Yes, it's true that some people get around 524 with Chase's co-branded or business credit cards, but that definitely doesn't happen for everybody, so I just want to make that clear as a blanket statement here. Also, when road mapping, be sure to take into account Chase's application rules, such as the fact that you actually can get a welcome bonus on all of Chase's Freedom cards every 2 years, and the same thing goes for the Sapphire cards every 4 years. Again, that is slightly advanced, but it's something that you should be keeping in mind, especially if you're somebody with a high velocity of applications, because you might want to try to time yourself being under 524 whenever those card anniversaries come up. That way you can constantly be getting Chase welcome bonuses and increasing your Chase Ultimate Reward point stash. To reiterate though, if you're at the beginning of your credit card journey, I'd recommend getting started with Chase cards early on, especially with the Chase Freedom Rise, which should have come out by the time I uploaded this video. But now a lot more people can get started with Chase right away, which is something I'd recommend you do. But if you are somebody that's been in the credit card game for a while, of course, I would recommend that you try to stay at like 424 with Chase if at all possible. Obviously, once you have a ton of credit cards, you might just not even care for Chase cards at that point, but it's always good to leave your options open if you can. Remember though that credit card strategies are going to vary from person to person, so don't just take my advice for this. Be sure to do your own research and see if these strategies make sense for you. If you do want to see exactly how I roadmap out my credit card setups more than just the 524 rule, go ahead and check out this video next. As always, Odin and I both want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.